Hello YouTube! I am Pinstar, and this is Lethis, Path of Progress. First impressions, early look. Well, it's not an early look, but it's a first impressions look. So, Lethis Path of Progress is a city builder game, but not just any city builder game. It is a walker-style city builder game, akin to the old era of Impressions games. Caesar, Pharaoh. There was one other series that used walkers for city management, but its name is eluding me. But this game is a modern revival of that genre. Now, that being said, it is not just a cheap ripoff or a simple remake of those games. It is set in its own universe. This is a Victorian steampunk universe, which is a very good setting, and I love its presentation. Still getting into it. I am not quite adept at the game enough to call this a strategy and tactics series, but you know what? I figured I'd just play a couple of, I'd play one of the scenarios, and have you guys let me know if you'd like to see a strategy and tactics series out of this or not. So let me know in the comments at the end of this episode. So let's dive right in, shall we? Now, the tutorials, I've played through the tutorials. I'll explain the basic concepts myself. So we're going to dive into the campaign here. As you can see, I'm fairly early into the campaign, but let's just do the first one here, because it's fairly simple, but it'll give me a foil to explain some of the game's basic concepts. So our objectives in this one is to get 1,200 workers in a level 8 housing and 4,000 units of meat as tribute to the Emperor. And the description, food for the Empire. So I previously beat this with a score of 34.99. Now let's see if I can beat that. Mr. Ellington, what a pleasure to meet you. How are you? I guess we're Mr. Ellington. I have excellent news. As you might have heard, Professor Alstrom's inventions are sensational. Condensed steam as a source of energy? I totally read that punctuation wrong. Yet this may lead to a rural exodus. Big cities are going to pop up just as fey mushrooms. A focus on agriculture and steady food supply will become important issues. It is your task to tackle these problems. All eyes are on you. Succeed, and the Empire will reward you portly. Portly. I've never been rewarded portly before. There are some translation errors. This is a French company, so the primary language of this game is French, although there is an English and I think a German language settings, but there are a few typos here and there, but nothing that renders the game not understandable. So let's get started. Okay, here we are. So this is the game map, isometric, 2D-ish, quasi-3D. Nice open map here. Plenty of room to work with here. Each of the maps are well designed by the devs themselves. I've not taken a look at the sandbox game to see if those are randomly generated or not. But still, we've got plenty of variety of maps to work with here. Let me pause here. So you can see just from the outset here, all the months. I mean, you can see what season it is, and it's got the normal 4 seasons, but each of the months have their own unique names here. So you'll see a lot of fleshing out of the world, that this is its own universe. Right then, but you're not here about the lore and the backstory. You want to see some city building. So do I. So let's get started here. So this little door right here is where our migrants come in. But they'll walk across the ground to get to our city. So we can really build our city anywhere we want. But you know what? Let's just build it right here. We can sort of demolish these trees. Silly trees. There's definitely an industrial revolution feel to this game, hence the name Path of Progress. So in order to get your people housed and happy, you need to start providing things for them, and the higher the level of their house goes, the more people an individual house will hold, and the higher taxes they pay you. But the more demanding that is, setting up and supporting little shacks or little tents is quite easy. If you're providing very little, you'll get very little, but you'll still get something. But as you give them more and more, you get more and more residents. So, but controlling the flow of your residents is actually part of the strategy to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down sort of a block design that I've been building here. And it uses a heart of decorations, because at the lower levels people don't really care about decorations, but at the higher levels they legitimately do. There'll be levels where they say we're not leveling up until the area that we're in looks nicer. So we're going to demolish all these wild trees. That's all right. Let's set it over here. Some trees can be demolished, some cannot. So we'll do it over here. So I'm going to set a sort of a central spine here of houses, well, of decorations here. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I can click and drag. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So a nice line of 12 of these things. Now, why am I making this big long line of decorations? Well, we're going to border them with houses. Well, in this case, housing plots. We don't actually build the houses ourselves. This is like zoning. If you've ever played SimCity or City Skylines, this is essentially zoning. This is saying, these plots of grounds you may build houses on. The place would be a madhouse if they just set up shop wherever the heck they felt like it. And of course they need roads. This is not, despite this being Victorian steampunk, most of the people get around in this game on foot or with carts or whatnot. But there are some notable exceptions as befits the universe here. Now, we can have houses on either side, so get a nice line of houses right here. Nice line of houses right here. And then I'm going to use the end caps for where we're actually going to stick their services. Now, at the beginning of the game here, actually, I'm just going to start things off and just let the game start up here. Now, you can see the roads all got transformed into something a little bit fancier. Because the land value or the niceness of the area got transformed by all these parks we have here. So now we got people strolling in. They are setting up shops, and as you can see, they're just setting up these little rinky-dink tents. And we are starting to get population in here, and the number of citizens in your city is actually extremely important, and one of the more difficult balancing acts of the game. Because your citizens are also your workforce. There are things that you need to do, economic things, industrial things that you need to do to accomplish your goals in any given map and just generally grow your city, and you need workers. If you don't have enough citizens in your city, those buildings will sit idle. Nobody will be working there. There won't be enough people to go around. So you need to sort of balance the economic gains of the city, the providing for your people and letting their houses grow, and also just making sure your workforce is balanced. On the flip side, if you have too many citizens and not enough for them to do, they will get very angry with you. So as you can see here, we've got all of our little empty spaces filled with tents here, but no one's going to do anything else more. We have 144 people, which is actually, in the grand scheme of things, not that many people. But it's easy to progress upwards from here. So these are all what's called level 1 houses, and worker houses can range from level 1 to level 10. Now our goal is to have workers' houses at level 8 and 1,200 inhabitants. Now, as the houses go up, you get more people, so we might be able to get 1,200 inhabitants from just this one stretch of land, but we're going to have to level it up. So now this tells us what do they need? What do they want to get to the next level? This building needs access to a well. Oh, that's easy enough. We've got down here, and there's a ton of industrial buildings, tons of food services, storage, special stuff, and every mission, not every building is enabled. Sometimes you have to play without some economic levers, and in order to get the goods you need that would otherwise just be homegrown by that, you have to trade for it. And that's actually a really good feature in my mind. But in here, we don't need to worry about, trade goods or anything unique. All we need is a well. And you can stick a well wherever. You don't need to sit it down on any specific patch of land here. What you do need to do is stick it next to a road. Now, what this tells you here, by mousing it over next to a road, you can see the squares on here, and it tells you the coverage. Now, the coverage here is a little nebulous, because here's how it works. When a worker is spawned here, it actually spawns a person that walks around in the city here. And actually, let me just plop a well down and show you rather than just tell you. So now we have 6 people. So we had to use up 6 of our citizens as employees for this well. That's easy enough. So now it spawned a worker. Now she's walking along here and she is providing water to each of the things here. He is. It's actually, the walker can be male, female, so it changes. So now these houses are going up to level 2 and more people are coming in. But we just noticed what happened here. She came to this intersection here, this little turn right here, and just went back the other way. Why did she do that? Why didn't she just keep going down here? Why not? Well, here's the way the game works. Every time a person reaches an intersection, and even just a straight curve like this can be considered an intersection, they will do an about face. They will choose randomly what direction they want to go. So sometimes they'll decide to, okay, I'll just proceed on this way and go down this way and head on home from there. Other times they will say, nope, that's far enough, and I'll go back the way I came. You can't control that directly anyway. What you can do, for example, is like if I were to have something like that. That's a 4-way intersection. That's not good, because now this person gets here, they could go one of 3 different ways every time, and if they go for too long without passing by a resident's house, they lose access to that stuff. So you need to keep in mind your coverage from your walkers, and you're a little bit at the mercy of the RNG, but you still have you still got yourself set for you can control it to an extent. Now, another thing you can do is just set up a redundant building. Twice as many walkers will give you double the chances of your building getting covered here. So, you know what? The well is so critical. I'm going to double up on it. It's also so cheap. Now, notice, now that we've put a second well here, all those tiles that were yellow, saying that coverage could extend here, but sometimes it can be spotty. Now we put this down here and say, yeah, we've got some seriously good coverage here. So that should get our water needs. Now this person could very well just decide to go down this way, but with 2 wells spawning 2 walkers, the chances of one strip of these buildings going too long without water is very low. All right, so this other well springs into action here. Let's see which direction their spawned walker goes. And all right, you see the walker didn't go the way I wanted them to go. But again, it's playing the odds here. And this person just went the other way too. Again, can't control it, but eventually someone will go this direction. In fact, this person might decide, instead of turning around, nope, they're going to turn around. Let's see if this person, nope. Oh, they're turning around when they get to the well. I see what they're doing here. So we just need to make sure they spawn on the proper side here. Well, and then once they return to the well, they're gonna, respawn pretty quickly here. All right, we're going down the same side here, and all right, maybe I am doing something incorrect here, because usually this works out for me. Let me try. See, I'm still learning this game here. My gameplay is not perfect. So let's see if I can get this working for us. All right, so they're going that way. Yeah, they brushed close enough to this house. Finally, a walker decides to come down this way. All right, so these houses are leveling up to level 2 here. Excellent. So now they need food. These people are, I guess, living off the land, but to get to their next level, we need to give them something to eat. And that's a little bit more complex of a process here. So not only do we need to basically farm up some food, but we also need to distribute it to them. So let's focus on the farm part of this first. Now every map is different in terms of what you can do for food. This dark mud here, this is all considered fertile soil, which means you can build farms here. As you can see, we have a lot of fertile soil, so we can farm it up like crazy. Now, as you can see, we don't have there's 4 different crops. There's potatoes, there's wheat, there's barley, and pumpkins. We don't have the potatoes or the pumpkins available to us. I guess the climate here is just not right for them. Like I said, every map's different. You might go to another map where wheat and barley aren't there, but potatoes are, or something different like that. So we're gonna grow some wheat. Yeah, pretty much anywhere on here, it should be good. Yeah, this is fine. It doesn't really matter, like, the percentage of the land that is covered by these. Yeah, we'll start with 2. We don't want to go too crazy, because again, you don't want to overtax your workforce. Now, I am making another intersection here. Now you say, Pinstar, that might make your well walker problem a little bit worse. Well, it could, but there's a tool that we can use at our disposal. The roadblock. So the roadblock, what this thing does is that walkers that are just wandering, if they see a roadblock, they won't consider this area as an option for them to travel. But if somebody is traveling and has a very specific destinations, they can pass through a roadblock. So if you're not relying on a wanderer, then you're good. Now, in order for this wheat to work something, we actually have to put it in. We have to store it. So that's where we come in with a granary here, which we're going to put right nearby. Now, people can't just eat raw wheat. They as tasty as that sounds, they cannot just gulp down raw wheat. So we got to do something with it. Now, the game has a couple of options when it comes to wheat. You can run it through a windmill to turn it into flour, and then bake that flour into bread, and then people can eat the bread. But this particular thing also has the ranch. This is sort of this world's version of cows. You'll notice that a lot of the animals in this world are a little bit different, or a lot of it different, depending on the animal, than our world's version of the animals. So we are going to have that wheat fed to the cattle. The cattle will then get slaughtered, turn into meat, and then people will eat the meat. Since that's our objective, we're going to want to build up a lot of meat because the emperor is going to start demanding meat from us as well. So we're going to want to focus on a lot of wheat farms and a lot of meat. All right, they're essentially cows, but they're not actually cows. Ooh, splash. I don't know what the splash is for, but the game has a little bit of a sense of humor here. But now we're using up more people. We had to employ people to work on the farms. We had to employ people to work in the granary. We had to employ people to work at the butcher, or rather the ranch. So now, we're still rocking a lot of unemployment here. So we're going to, actually, let's expand our food. Let's go do, no, not more houses. Let's do another 2 farms. I'm still trying to learn the ratios here. Oh, actually, no, there's a couple more things that we got to do before we start needing to do that. So this game, one of the things that's sort of classic to the older games, like, Caesar and Pharaoh, is buildings have a chance of collapsing. Like they'll just fall down, turn into a pile of rubble, unless they're properly maintained. Proper maintenance is through this engineering structure here, and just like the wells, they spawn a walker that will wander around. Now you can see this one has a little bit more coverage, so I'm only going to use 1 here. He should be able to keep all this. Now, he's not going to pass through this roadblock, but these 2 buildings, the granary and the ranch here, can collapse. The farms can't collapse, thankfully, but these 2 can. So we're going to need another one of these in order to keep them safe, like that. And he won't wander into the housing district. He's just going to stick to this little patch of land. So that way we ensure total coverage. All right, so there we go. Yeah. I think that little whistle is just telling me it's a new year. Alright, so everybody is nice and solidly at a level 2, but we got to get them food. In order to produce meat, we're going to need to grow wheat. These guys are, well, I think they, well, hang on. Before we get any further into the season, let me build a few more fields here. How's my employment situation looking? 38% unemployment, plenty of workers to work with here. So we are going to do, say, another 2 farms. And to support those 2 farms, we will get another ranch. And because we're extending the road down here just a little bit, since the farms can't collapse, there's no need for the engineer here to go down here, so we can use a roadblock actually right here. Because as long as they just pass like 1 little inch of the building, they can consider the building is considered to have been visited, which is perfect. Now the other thing I can do with this granary here is you can actually play with some of the totals here, so it can accept any kind of food. And right now it's accepting everything, but I can tell it to be a little bit more picky. What if we tell it refuse everything except for wheat and for meat? And now, instead of, since we don't want one or the other to completely dominate here, what if we tell it, no, not 6,000, why don't you only accept, say, 1,800 wheat, and, 4,200 meat. Well, actually, you go up 1, you go down 1. There we go. So that way, we can tell it to have a good balance. Now, granted, you can always build more granaries. There's no rule against that. But every one of those is going to use 12 people. And sometimes, if you just spam out granaries, they don't actually produce anything. They just store your stuff. So yeah, see, look, we built all those, and now our unemployment's down to 6%. So I'm gonna hold it right there. I am gonna hold it right there, because that's fine right where it is. It's okay to have a little bit of unemployment. All right, so let's speed things up here. They have a handy dandy tool here to let you hyperspeed the game while you wait for things to happen. So yeah, these guys are gonna grow up here. These other 2 fields aren't going to produce quite as much wheat. Oh, there we go. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right, so they deposit a bunch of wheat here. Now these are going to be producing quite rapidly here. So they are consuming the wheat, and they are going to be essentially converting it into meat. And so now, yeah, we've got our food engine working here. But the people aren't going to just walk on over through here and just grab some meat directly out of here. They need to have their food delivered to them. They're a little lazy. So in order to get some food delivered to them, we are going to build a shop. Actually right here is fine. Now it says that the walkers are going to go down here. I'm going to fix that with a few more roadblocks. Because if the walker can't spawn here or here, it's going to spawn up here, which is what we want. And like I said, the shop will be able to go out and get some of this meat directly, because walkers that have a specific destination, i.e. I want to leave my shop and go to the granary, pick up some meat, and go back to the shop, that's a specific destination. They can go right through the roadblocks. They're not wandering around hoping they bump into a granary. Now, I think they are going to wait for a few more pieces of meat to show up before they send somebody out to go get it. So yeah, meanwhile, yeah, these guys are, these cows are going through the wheat like crazy. I might need a few more farms. But yeah, see this guy on this little motorized carriage, he went out, picked it up, and now they're stocking it. And now he's walking around just like the water people, and he's distributing food. And now these people are saying, ooh, we have something to eat. We can upgrade now. So these are all level 3. And again, every time you get upgrade your buildings here, you get more people. Now it looks like he ran out of meat here. Nope, he didn't run out of meat. He still got it. He's still good. He's just slowly progressing his way through here. All right, now he ran out of meat because these guys aren't upgrading because he's not. It sort of teleports that there, but they went and got some more meat, so they're still working there. And it's planting season again, so the farms are up and running. Let me look at my labor situation here real quick. 17 unemployment. Let's throw down another farm. And actually, let's split it off here so I have room to expand here. Because I have a feeling we're going to use a lot of farms. Actually, 2 more farms. Because, like I said, I'm still working on the ratios in terms of, how many farms will keep how many ranches busy and whatnot. If I do a strategy and tactics series, I will do that research and give you guys that number for use in your own games should you decide to pick this one up. But yeah, we got a lot more people available. 15% unemployment. Okay, well we can go a little further here then. Let's pause here. So now that, at least for the houses that have access to the meat, at least for the time being, they will eventually eat it and need more shipments of it. And if they run out, just like with the well water, they'll downgrade if they go without for too long. This building needs access to a wash house. So that's another service building. Essentially, it's a laundry / bathhouse. So we are going to do that. And let me rotate the view here. That doesn't fit, but that fits. Now the wash house actually has a sort of a negative aura effect, like it sort of like makes the neighborhood a little less attractive. So to counter that, let me throw down a few decorations here, just to keep the area pretty. Yeah, a little statue here. They're essentially they're all the same. Like there's 1 tile, 4 tile, and 9 tile varieties of these things. But they all seem to have the same gameplay effect, so it's just put down whatever you think makes your city look the prettiest. Alright, so yeah, he's got a fresh shipment of meat, so he's dropping that off to these things. Now we have a wash house. They're going to spawn a walker just like with the fountain, so now he's going around and they're upgrading to level 4. A booth. And now comes the fun part. They need alcohol. Not content to just eat food and keep themselves clean. No, they got to get drunk. So we got to get our alcohol engine going here to keep the people happier. Well, it looks like this person made the right thing. Just did a full loop for us. All right, so let's see here. Well, alcohol is going to require a brewer and well, actually not a brewer. They call it an abbey. And in order to supply them, we need barley. So that's where the other farm field type comes into play. So let's get ourselves a line of this going here. What's our unemployment looking? 36. We can afford to go a little crazy. A little crazy. We don't want to go too crazy, but we can go a little crazy. Let's do 1, 2, 3 barley fields. And then, since this thing is pretty much just dedicated to wheat and meat, we're going to want another granary to handle the barley shipments. So let us put that down. I'll hold off on setting up the actual abbey until we actually get our first shipment of barley in. So we'll refuse everything, just accept barley. Just accept it, man. Accept that you're going to be filled to the brim with barley. Well, maybe not with the three fields worth, but yeah, you get the idea. Unemployment 24. We're going to need some of that for that, but you know what? I think a few more fields of barley just to really kickstart our beer industry here will be necessary. And yeah, you go through a lot of stuff here, and the farms are a little bit, I don't want to say annoying, but they're a little bit tricky in the sense that the people are only considered employed while it's planting season. So while the stuff's still growing, they're considered employed. But once harvest happens and before the next thing, they all go back to the labor pool and they're all considered labor. So you're occasionally going to have bursts of really, really bored farmers whining about unemployment. But then if you accidentally forget about that and, build more industry buildings and employ everybody, and then planting time comes, then suddenly, labor shortage, not enough people to go around. So yeah, like I said, it's a balancing act. All right, so our wheat's coming along quite nicely here. And yeah, so I think I'm going to put a pause here. So in our next episode, we are going to get our beer industry up and running once the barley harvest comes in. And you know what? Let's do a little science together. We're going to see if these six fields of wheat will be enough to keep these two ranches busy. Because yeah, they ran out from last year's harvest. They both ran out. They chewed through all the stuff. We're not getting more meat out of them. In fact, we might see some downgrading unless this wheat comes fast enough. Because right now these people are just eating off their reserves. They got 15 units of meat here. These guys have a little bit more, but yeah, if they run out, they're going to downgrade. So if you like this episode and want to see more like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment, good, bad, or indifferent. And most importantly, if you want to see this turned into a full strategy and tactics series, let me know. Say, yes, Pinstar, I want to see more of this. I want to see a lot more of this. Or just say, cute game, but why don't you try some other games? Let me know. I'm here to please. So until next time, this has been Pinstar signing out. See ya.